Hello and welcome to the Monday Academy Showcase. I am Julian Page-Time Car, joined today by Alberto Crumbs Rengifo. Welcome back, my friend.
It's good to be back, and we have a stacked Academy this season, so I cannot wait to get into these games.
Well, with that, we do have an exciting lineup of games coming up tonight. We'll kick off with FlyQuest up against Immortals, followed by 100 Thieves versus Evil Geniuses, as finally TSM takes on Team Liquid. Be sure to stay tuned after the Academy Showcase for Monday Night League, which starts at 5 p.m. on twitch.tv/LCS and youtube.com/LOL Esports. Let's take a look, though, at how these Academy teams have fared during their first week of play. Dignitas and Golden Guardians up at the top, with surprisingly CLG's new squad not looking too hot, and Team Liquid and TSM both with bagels in the win column before their game today.
The teams in yellow are the ones to watch this season. Golden Guardians and Dignitas stacked with former LCS talent, looking to lead the pack, and everybody else is right behind them too, because teams have taken a different approach to this Academy season, importing players from Oceania, going, like FlyQuest that's just about to play, and just really trying to innovate a little bit more, which is exciting because Academy is starting to look a lot more like LCS.
Certainly looking a lot stronger. With that, let's take a look at the starting rosters. On the blue side, it is FlyQuest Academy. In the top lane, Revenge. In the jungle, Scouting Grounds Honda MVP Fanatiik. In the mid lane, it's Oceania's Triple. Bot and support Mash and JayJ, and their coach, Cop.
And selecting the red side, it's Immortals Academy. In the top lane, you've got Allorim, Potluck in the jungle, Insanity on mid, Apollo on bot, his support is Gate, and their coach is Koobs. Now, Fanatiik will be a familiar name to anyone who tuned into the Honda Scouting Grounds after an impressive performance. He was not only picked up by FlyQuest, but was named the Honda MVP of Scouting Grounds. He fared well with his solo lanes controlling the meta, but better than that, he's got the Elise in, one of the strongest picks right now, and you really need to ban it if your team does not play it, which puts a very strong emphasis on the draft for this season.
Yeah, Lee Sin, Elise, Kiana, and Rek'Sai definitely in this man's wheelhouse. So he's very happy with how the meta is shaking out. On the other side, the Allorim also did very well in his Academy opener versus TSM, playing Urgot into Aatrox, which we haven't seen in quite a while. Allorim certainly known for taking his own tune to champions sometimes, but he popped off in that game.
He's one of my favorite stories because he came into the Academy circuit as a Wukong one trick and then started diversifying from that, now has a counter pick to a very popular pick, and it's really cool to see these one tricks like Revenge, who's across from him, who was a Riven one trick as well, and then using the skills that they learned from these very specific champions translated to bruisers that are similar.
Yeah, and we have seen Allorim on the LCS stage, even playing more meta champions, certainly can whip out Ornn, which is about the only tank being played these days in the top lane, but you know that man on your screen, Revenge, is wanting to get aggressive, especially with his new jungler in Fanatiik, and try and punish his top lane opponent. So very curious to see how Allorim and Potluck, who's also new, back into Academy this split, kind of navigate that 2v2.
He was a coach. He was in the coaching staff for Golden Guardians, so really trying to diversify his resume, knowing the ins and outs and what it's being like to be a coach, to being a player. And if he was to go back to coaching, he'd be able to give the players exactly what he wants because he now has the experience of being that player.
I also kind of like we'll call it the throwback 2v2 in the bot lane. We have Apollo and Gate, of course, mainstays of the LCS for a very long time and have now been in Academy for a split or two. And JayJ also up and down through Academy and LCS, but Mash is a name that people have not seen in a very, very long time.
It's a really interesting fact that this is a player that has still been grinding away despite not being in times in Academy or even LCS. Always looking to make it back, and that kind of drive you have to respect. He finally got another chance here, and with a team that's looking to be one of the strongest Academy teams, you might look at Mash making a new run at his career.
It's funny that you mentioned that, yes, there are a number of Oceanic imports coming from the OPL I'm playing, especially in Academy. Triple on FlyQuest Academy is one of them. Mash kind of as well. Not technically, obviously, he is American, I believe, but he was last seen in OPL playing professionally. 2.5 years ago was his last NA game. So he's been in the scene, he's been playing amateur whenever he can. He's been trying to grind games wherever he can find them. And apparently he gave Oceania
I didn't know he had a stint over there. That's really cool by him. That really just shows that he's just willing to take the experience wherever he can get it.
And again, I think for all of the teams across Academy, and this is something we'll talk about for our next games as well, it's so different now with the number of imports, with how many different players got shuffled around. I guess with the exception of Dignitas, who just decided to take every eligible former LCS player and jam them into a very strong-looking roster. I think there's a really good mix of veterancy, experience, and up-and-coming players, and imports, which is something that Academy hasn't really had before.
And up-and-coming coaching staff as well. A lot of teams are using Academy as a training grounds for their coaches. How well can they manage an entire roster? You have Reignover over in Cloud9 as well, trying to figure out how can he fit into a coaching lineup, which makes me think that a lot of these teams are going to take cues from their more developed partners in their LCS squads. And a team like FlyQuest, I expect to be really interested in Riven top. Revenge can play it the same way that Viper can. It's a tool that FlyQuest will have available. It's up to them to use it if Revenge is ready and willing.
I actually thought about that yesterday watching FlyQuest LCS game with Viper on Aatrox. I'm like, you have to have a good training partner because Revenge loves that pick. He's played it all the time, even last split when he came partway through for FlyQuest. So certainly I think those are two, again, very talented players, known for their Rivens, known for their mechanics and their lane dominance. And a lot of teams do think about their Academy team as like, how can we also give our main team the best training, whether it's a full-on 5v5 where maybe we point to something like Dignitas and that's potentially what they're looking for, or just sometimes picking a laner because you think they're a good matchup for, say, your top laner or your mid laner.
True. Or somebody that's going to be good enough to develop the Academy players themselves. Like I think 100 Thieves now has another team below the Academy that they're going to be trying out against the Academy team. So a lot of integration between all three levels, below Academy and above it, to just make the entire ecosystem well-rounded, which should give more opportunities to players to compete wherever they want.
Certainly seen just in general with imports, with scouting grounds, lots of talent filtering up into the system. I think across the 100 players in both leagues, not one or the other, lots of talent to potentially pull from.
The talent is there, although the results have not gotten there yet.
We're only week one, Crumbs!
No, I know it's only week one, but I want to see some of these guys make it all the way to the LCS. We don't have that many players that actually go from Academy to the LCS to international results. So to see that trajectory would only solidify how strong this circuit will become.
All right, well, we're going to get ourselves into game number one, FlyQuest versus IMT. Some curious matchups. I guess we'll start with JayJ's Blitzcrank more than anything else. We did actually see this also again on the FlyQuest side from Ignar.
It's very easy to do the prep that way. Just prep whatever your main LCS team does, and chances are you did a pretty good homework.
How do you not know that it's Ignar stealing JayJ's homework and not the other way around?
Well, I'm going to say it's Ignar, because JayJ did not bust out Blitzcrank all season long until Ignar showed up.
Well, kind of looking across the comps as well. I think top lane, we kind of expected it to be exciting if Allorim was willing to take something a little more aggressive. No On this time around has opted for the Pantheon as his counterpick into the Aatrox. So again, I'm expecting a lot of activity from Fanatiik and Potluck, particularly towards that top side.
Yeah, when you got the mixture of magic damage from Elise, you want to be going to lanes that are physical damage. So not a lot of play around triple, but mostly with Revenge and then match with JayJ. Blitzcrank hook into Elise or Cocoon into Blitzcrank. Crazy combo, gets you away from the Tahm Kench, which is a really good answer to Tahm Kench. He's not going to be able to devour somebody if he's an entire Blitz hook away.
Well, looks like Potluck is going to start on the blue buff here. Has help from Apollo and Gate. That's Senna, Tahm Kench lane. We've certainly seen quite a lot of across the weekend between LCS and Academy. Fanatiik is starting on his opposite side though, both junglers starting blue, but curious to see where Fanatiik wants to go for potentially a very fast early gank.
That was very kind out of Apollo to use a Senna Q on the Jarvan, just giving away 70 mana, which might come in handy in the laning phase. I want to track if the mana play comes into fruition here, because Miss Fortune can get really annoying with her harass.
Certainly can. I think the other question is checking on Aphelios' status as a ban. Was left open this game, but MASH deciding to go for the Misfortune instead. I think between Aphelios, Senna, and MF, these are the bot laners we've been primarily seeing, but for the most part, at least for LCS games this past weekend, we saw a lot more Senna plus Aphelios. This time, MASH wanting something a bit more aggressive alongside the Ignite Blitzcrank of JayJ.
He didn't want to read the tooltips of Aphelios. Just
Too much reading.
Too much, man. Just give me Misfortune. Press R to win.
All right, well, mid lane Triple seems to be in a spot of bother. This is a champion he's absolutely known for, was pretty famous for his control mages, at least locally in the OPL. Azir, one of the champions he has a number of games on, but so far Viktor seems to be winning out the early stages. As Fnatic looking bot lane once again. I've seen this before. Apollo going to be the target, looking for it. They go for Gate instead. They're going to try and turn it back around. The stun lands. Good flash over from Gate. I think if they committed, they might have got it, but Devour, I think, a little too on their minds.
That's a really tricky play from FlyQuest, because whoever you cocoon is probably not going to die, and if you go for the Senna, she's gonna be able to just get devoured, and she wasn't level 3 for the little getaway fog, so I forgot the name of that. Just getaway fog.
Getaway fog's great. We'll ship it. To be fair, some cooldowns and some mana traded for 2 sums is pretty good, and here comes the regank, diving down the bottom side, TP in as well. Tower tanked up, that's first blood. Fnatic gonna nab it again, triple down here, but here's Allorim. They actually stun Fnatic under the tower, into the gravity field. He may go, he goes over, flashes out. Apollo gonna be the next target. FlyQuest, so well coordinated, absolutely make that dive work.
An excellent heads up play out of them, telling the mid laner that we might need your teleport here. We're gonna go for a play, knowing that the heal was down, and Fnatic very intelligently saves his repel long enough for Blitzcrank to get another hook and then get a kill in. Let's see how they juggle the aggro here, because that's the biggest thing here. It starts off with the Blitz, who has Aftershock proc, so he's going to be really tanky, takes the final shot that he could, and then here it's the Senna getting a little bit, distracted. It looked like the hook wasn't going to hit, but her gun's really big. It's part of the hitbox.
And there's a lot of stuff on screen. Like, I think Apollo was focused on killing the diving Elise, but very well played by FlyQuest as JayJ plucks Apollo out of the air for a second kill. And they're up early, about 500 gold or so. And again, we expected Fnatic to get aggressive. Once again, he pops down to the bottom half of the map. And this time they convert the regank very cleanly.
Well, something that Immortals has going on for them is that Potluck is significantly ahead when it comes to farm over Fnatic, but this jungle meta right now is really difficult to understand how a jungler is ahead or behind. Seems like the camps don't necessarily translate to the experience lead that it used to, so he's gonna be the same level, but whatever level he is, his game plan is the same. You gotta farm, man, or gank. You're playing Jarvan.
Potluck, has snuck in here, but now finally on a ward. Fnatic, in the meantime, knows he's safe on this control ward, so gonna go for it again here. No flash on either Apollo or Gate. See if JayJ can line it up once more. Gonna be a 3v3 this time, grabs it. Stun gonna follow up there, Devour is good. Into the Black Mist goes Apollo as well, but they are gonna chase here, repel, not in range. So this time the gank will not be successful for Fly.
That just shows that even at a relatively long range, the Tahm Kench will save you from Blitzcrank.
Allorim seemingly a single spear away from killing Revenge, but Revenge, I think, knows the limits in the matchup, is gonna stay with a potion ticking. Flash in, that looks to be a kill. Allorim gonna grab it, Revenge gets very greedy, but the tower will mean the trade.
Really good from Revenge to actually throw that W out right before dying, knowing that that would be the only way to trade back against Allorim. And that's what happens when your Elise is camping bottom lane. She's not devoting any time to dealing with the lane bully that is Pantheon.
Well, small CS lead there for Allorim. Has already TP'd though, which I think maybe is part of the reason. Revenge are going to walk back. And looks like save his TP for a potential play on this first Drake, as Fnatic is clearing out this side of the river. They already have control thanks to the early visits in bottom lane. Now let's watch this 1v1 again. As you said, Revenge just snuck the chain in here.
So you can tell he wants to go for the all-in because he's got the full stack of the Pantheon passive going, which is really the only time that Pantheon goes really aggro. He gets a crazy steroid on all his abilities.
Good calculation though from Revenge. Nice catch there, Crumbs, as that chain was basically exactly enough to get the trade.
It would have been really bad if he didn't get that one.
Perhaps something else is happening here in the top side. Potluck is taking the enemy Gromp. That does mean the first Drake over to FlyQuest Academy. The first Infernal, not bad, but in general the early Drakes, not the most valuable.
It's 4%. Right? It's such a small number of increased damage when you're only at Doran's Blades when you're a Misfortune, or not even at Doran's Ring when you're Azir. So it'll be a while for this dragon to pan out, and we're not going to get 3 of them. So it's just going to be a tiny little
You only get one. It's going to be one Ocean here as well as the next one, but Blue Buff Steel here for FlyQuest is triple able to grab that. Seems like the map is split fairly in 2. Potluck though already level 6. The Fnatic actually only level 4. I can't imagine he's very far away from dinging 5, but you can see the pretty stark difference in playstyles here.
And I want to see that difference in playstyle translate to a counter gank. They know that the focus has been on bottom lane, and now you've got a Pantheon who's having a swell time in the top lane. He can use his ultimate to go anywhere else. Chain it with the Jarvan. Go for a dive into the bottom lane, a dive anywhere else. You're going to get results because you can outnumber somebody before FlyQuest can respond.
Sanity back in with a Hex Core upgrade. It's just going to clear out the waves. Triple also taking what looks like his first recall since the TP bottom lane. Gets almost a Nash's Tooth finished. Both the Codex and the Stinger now completed.
Just so safe for Azir to play at this stage. He can just drop a few soldiers, clear the wave. No one's going to try to dive him as long as he plays far back. So he's going to maintain pressure, which holds Insanity back as well, who's just wave clearing. So much of it comes down to playing around the side lanes while avoiding the mid lane. So it makes these times in which ganks are happening a lot more spaced out because you're just not making anything happen in the mid lane. So you have to go from one corner of the map to the other.
Also what feels like a very early swap here for FlyQuest, moving their duo lane up to the top lane. So that to me signals something like Rift Herald. I think the next objective they want to take with the Drake down, but Triple may be in trouble here. Potluck just off to your street. Ooh, now out of there. Where'd he go? Oh, back to the jungle. Taking too long.
I feel like he's just gonna be so, unless he goes in, he should not die. You have your ultimate to get people out, you've got Flash, you've got your shifting sands to go anywhere on the map.
Does at least clear out a ward and put one down for himself, so left side control continuing here for FlyQuest Academy is something we did see again from FlyQuest in their opening game. Just a lot of really good coordination for a team of players that have not played together really much at all.
It's the same score as a start too. 3-1 was how they opened up their first game of the split with a very strong level 1, and with the chance.
Very different scenario.
Yeah,
yes.
Different scenario, same score, just seeing the similarities between the matches, and the similarity here is now they're going for a Rift Herald swap. A play that a lot of teams have forgotten to make that 10-minute Rift Herald swap, but one that FlyQuest will look for nonetheless.
There's also a second one that you can potentially grab as well, so it does seem like FlyQuest are fully committing to this left side of the map, looking to try and take the objective. As I say that, Triple goes back to lane, and Fanatiik actually peeks for a gank here in top lane.
Jarvan has more farm than Senna, by the way.
That's quite a lot. Good hook, lands on the gate. Silence gonna land from the Blitzcrank ultimate. Here comes Potluck in finally. TP's going in. Fanatiik, though, able to take down gate. And that TP coming in, IMTA gonna back off the play.
They're being so safe with every play. Make sure that somebody teleports in when FlyQuest goes for it, which makes it so much harder for Immortals to try to respond to anything that FlyQuest is throwing at them, and it's going to yield them the Rift Heralds. Really good stuff from FlyQuest, especially when they're balancing out the teleports one at a time. They can go for another play, and it'll be Triple responding instead.
Yep, they knew Triple had Insanity stuck under the turret. Prio there from Azir, so again, continued clean gameplay here from FlyQuest. It really was, to me, in their CLG game, that the team fights felt like the most impressive looking thing. Lots of good individual things to start and end team fights, but for now, this has been a pretty smooth laning phase for FlyQuest. We're at 11.5 minutes in. They've taken the first Drake, they've taken the first Herald, looking at almost 1,500 gold ahead in the early game.
Another thing that has been really standard for FlyQuest, they've only ganked bottom lane. Immortals has to wake up and realize that the ganks are coming in only one direction, where Blitz Misfortune is. So they need to get ready and respond adequately. I think Allorim is the guy to go for. A Grand Skyfall will turn the tides of any fight if you get the right numbers there.
I feel like in some ways it's Triple's job to gank top lane. If Fanatiik's just going bot, just shove the wave, come top, help me out. As Triple is actually top, shoving against Allorim, who's trying to get sneaky in this bit of brush. Not too sure how this 1v1's going to go, but it's not going to be a 1v1 for much longer, perhaps. Potluck is going to force Triple to back off a little bit. Allorim with a good chunk of damage as he leaps out of the shrubbery.
Yeah, this is not the lane assignment FlyQuest wants. You got to get the Azir back into the mid lane here. No surprises at the bottom lane. Back at the rant.
Oh, hook lands again. JayJ using the Rift Herald as a distraction, perhaps, but Herald does not quite finish off the tower. Dude does get a good chunk of the plate money off of it, though. There's also this Ocean Drake respawn that's likely the impetus for the swap. with Triple being the one currently on FlyQuest that has the TP. So no tower, but at least this Drake is probably good enough for FlyQuest.
So do you remember when the meta was about somebody makes a play somewhere or goes for a tower dive and your job as a jungler is to respond elsewhere and try to find a way to counter that? I think that right now things have shifted to the point where you just need to be involved in that original play in the first place. You can't just go ahead and look for a counter because there's just too much rewards available from each gank. And so if you let one or a few go through, if the enemy plays safe in the top side, you're always going to be disadvantaged. So I need to see Potluck follow Fanatiik and not look to just mirror and trade a worthless objective for a turret.
I think part of the issue is how FlyQuest have played this early game. There's actually nothing they could have traded. They took the first Drake before Rift Herald spawned, then they swapped over, took the Herald, then walked back down and took the Drake, and used the Herald to take the bot tower. So I kind of agree with you in that, like, there's lots of early activity because, again, jungle XP is something that there's just not nearly as much of. But I think FlyQuest do deserve a lot of credit for engineering a situation where IMTA have very few good choices.
Absolutely. They're doing a really good job, I think, because Fanatiik is not showing on the map. A lot of his pathing is within his own jungle, outside of the vision that Immortals has laid out. And it's not the greatest vision, but you can see it here on the mini-map that there is just control wards on the entrances of the river, nowhere else. So they have no idea, oh, thank you, what Fanatiik is up to. Except they know that he's just only showing up in the bottom.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. As you can see, the Rift has transformed. It will be Mountain Soul this go around, but kind of like the idea of JayJ hiding behind the extra bit of rock that have spawned throughout.
Look at Allorim. He's here. This is real battle.
Time to run. JayJ popping the overdrive and getting out of there. Looks like FLYA is happy to play with their solos in the side for now.
And with 3 minutes on that Dragon, they don't really need to look for anything. They can play it slow, build the CS lead with the side lanes, and then just get the hooks with Elise. Right? You can always group up at any point and go for that play, and it's gonna catch out anybody. So it's a death sentence with every hook. I think they should just rename every hook champion's hook a death sentence. Same with Nautilus, same with Blitz. You die if you get hit.
Well, I do like that FLYA kind of doing what you said and continuing to slowly creep their vision forward and clear out vision. Most importantly, again, behind the rock we go. Oh, he goes around it. Potluck able to juke down. Does escape the wrath of the Blitzcrank hook. But red buff steal, not going to be so lucky. FlyQuest finally starting to push themselves further into enemy territory.
Immortals can't contest. Mash is already here. And yes, Senna has a global ultimate, but she is slow as heck. She cannot just participate and run across the map. She'll just only shoot her ultimate.
Well, IMT trying to stay groups here. Top lane though, that's where the action is. Allorim going to get shielded up by said ulti. But I think the dive is just forthcoming at this point. Needs the last Q from Fanatiik. Does land at his gate and Potluck, and I think that's a mistake. Does get the flag and drag through. Now Mash caught out on the left-hand side of the fight, but Gate looking to go down. Mash forced a flash. Kind of awkward now for FlyQuest between a few turrets, but they'll walk back towards their teammates.
Oh, they can still get this though. They smell blood in the water. Triple is here and very healthy.
Yeah, Revenge clearing out the wave. There's actually no minions anywhere to be seen as the next wave pushes in towards IMT's turret. But it looks like FlyQuest not wanting to go for any extra aggression. Will just take the kill they got and get out.
That could have been really messy if they wanted to go for that.
I was
hoping they would go for it, right? You can have the Blitzcrank hook, and this is them just utilizing that pressure into the red buff and lack of vision to catch out the top lane. Right? There was no way that Allorim saw them there. The only time he saw Blitzcrank and Elise was entering the red side from below. And this is a complete surprise for Immortals, which makes the collapse that much tougher for them. They have no idea who they're supposed to collapse on.
Yep, Fanatiik kind of the weak one, but has plenty of teammates to use as cover. FlyQuest get the kill and get out. 45 seconds now until the first Mountain Drake will spawn. IMT currently the first in the area with the vision, but FlyQuest still ahead of the objectives, know where they want to be. They actually are on top, looking for Rift Herald number 2. This is one of the other changes that happened here in Rise of the Elements.
Now they are Siamese Herald twins.
And it just feels so valuable. Like, one Herald was good, but you're like, now what do I do? Because often you got a side lane tower, you cashed in the plate money, and you're like, okay, cool. I still can't push forward on the map because they don't have any other points broken open. I think now we'd get able to get a second Herald and likely look mid, which is the one you want the most. Even with IMT trying to trade here in bottom lane, it does seem like Apollo and Allorim will get that tower. Quick channel there in the mid lane, and FlyQuest will be busting through the center of this map very quickly.
It keeps the whole map relevant, having the Rift Herald, because otherwise you would just never go back top until 20 minutes. So this means that everything is a little bit more engaged, and it's going to go for another charge, and Immortals is looking for Allorim. He's got a Grand Skyfall.
Oh, they get the turret actually really quickly. Allorim does move in with the ulti. Potluck looking for something, but doesn't find a target he wants to engage on, and IMT rotate off the Drake only to lose 2 turrets.
That was such a shy Grand Skyfall, and the hook is going to catch him. He puts his shield up. He's going to be fine.
Yep, JayJ, they're on point with these hooks. Viktor ulti out. Fanatiik finds a stun only onto Gate, though. Chaos Storm getting FlyQuest a little low, so IMT might fancy something here. Still ulti up for J4. Revenge going to be the target. Hook misses. Mash over the wall with the ulti. Not going to connect. Fanatiik now in trouble. Gonna have to repel, nowhere good to go though. Back down he goes to the ward actually, and that flash is maybe enough distance. Ulti out from Senna. Potluck out of there after the ulti usage, and lots of trades back and forth, but still no casualties.
There's no mana on Insanity. He's the main damage, so they're relying on Allorim's cooldowns to be able to take anybody down. So it's a slow, grueling battle, but with a Mountain Dragon to claim, these are champions that definitely are going to benefit from this. A lot of tanky boys on the Immortals side.
1 kill and their first Drake for 2 towers is the trade that IMT eventually end up with. But still down about 4,000 gold, looking good on the FlyQuest side. But IMT, I think, finally committing to a 5v5 and being like, okay, we can start to win these team fights if we play them right.
Yeah, they've got the damage, and also they did a good job of avoiding what Mash's damage was going to be through the ultimate. He was a little preemptive, using it when Potluck jumped in, but getting that spell out and then continuing to be aggressive was the right call from Immortals, knowing that there's not a lot left in FlyQuest's tank.
Viktor's certainly a champion that will scale up nicely. Already see Insanity just with that max hex score and a couple of extra needlessly large rods, doing plenty of damage with his ulti in that team fight. Triple though, also no stranger to doing lots of sustained damage in a team fight. As the Haunting guy's already finished, along with that Nash's Tooth.
So I think here, what FlyQuest can do is take advantage of Apollo's poor wave clear. Senna is so slow in the mid game when it comes to clearing minion waves. And if FlyQuest can get either the Azir or the Misfortune directly against her, they'll be able to shove and out-rotate Immortals every single time, which gives them the head start when it comes to contesting these objectives. And here we go again. Look at that. Senna is already in the mid lane. FlyQuest is ahead of the play.
JayJ at it again. Gate this time does not get connected. Now maybe the counterplay here. Flash forced by Insanity as JayJ gets over the wall. I think the red buff also got stolen. Triple running away from the Chaos Storm. Does take a pretty big chunk of damage, but gets himself to safety in short order. Revenge playing on the side lane here. I think Allorim, though, as far as starting things for Immortals, as you mentioned, Crumbs, only that one ulti so far, but at least has been very willing to start things.
Yeah, and I want to see him be willing to put himself in a dangerous situation next time around. Use the Grand Skyfall to position where you think the enemy is going to run, so you appear from behind them, not on the same time your team approaches from, but you split the focus of FlyQuest. You can't have Mash shooting in the same direction. If he's double upping you and there's no one behind you, you're already getting more value out of that play because he's minimizing his damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of gold actually on the big carries with FlyQuest. We've got about 1,000 gold up for Triple, and similar story there for Mash. Actually, I take it back, that's 2,000 plus up for Mash in that particular matchup. So I think with 2 items done for Triple, and I assume 2 done for Mash whenever he wants to go shopping. A lot more pressure that can be applied in these next few fights, so IMT still have to tread somewhat carefully, especially since they're getting consistently starved division. As 22 minutes in, Crumbs, we've got a Baron.
And something interesting just happened. Just got told by the producers. Mash fat-fingered his stopwatch.
Thought I heard that.
Yeah. So I don't know if Immortals is going to be pressing tab to check that they now have Mash as a viable target to engage on.
Well, FlyQuest Academy using the Baron as bait to pull off pretty quickly. They have 1 Ocean Drake to help them regen between attempts. And again, doing a great job of just getting all the vision out of this red side jungle.
They can always shove mid lane faster. This is what Immortals has been dealing with all game long. They're happy because they have a Viktor and a Senna that technically infinitely scales, but how long can they afford to bleed out in this way?
Ash gonna get the slow down. JayJ looking for the hook, does not connect onto Apollo. Was close though. IMTA will be forced away. Drake spawning in a minute 10, so might have FlyQuest moving themselves over to this side of the map instead. Revenge gonna get around there, but gonna push away first as we watch this one in. Oh.
I would have liked to see him spam dance, control himself.
Just laugh. He's got to shake it off there. Ash has now sold his stopwatch and picked up a cloak for the, I assume, incoming Infinity Edge.
Huh. Okay. I would have just left it there. Maybe turn it into a GA at some point. There's physical damage that is going to be affecting you with Pantheon and Senna.
Build a stone plate, you know, really mix it up.
Right. Stone plate MF.
Seen a lot of stone plate support at least. Yeah, I don't think stone plate MF is coming to a solo queue near you anytime soon. Only one tower down for IMT means the space available to play on is rather limited. But FlyQuest continuing to play pretty clinically here. Just clearing out vision, going around the objective, and just looking for a pick with Elise and Blitz. IMT may look to challenge here on the Baron side of the map with the Drake being up, but Drake shouldn't take too long to be felled at this point.
Immortals is starting to feel good, that the hope is starting to pay off. There's a death cap on Insanity, and Viktor's damage is gonna be completely raw. Not a single ounce of magic resistance.
JayJ with a bit of a face check early. Gonna go into stasis, and that's actually Potluck gonna be forced to be devoured. Revenge now from the flank, again looking for a triple, dishing out damage on Insanity, but can't go too much further forward. JayJ looking for the rehook. Root lands in onto Revenge, and FlyQuest just can't find the first kill.
Wow, just everything blown, but still nothing on the side of FlyQuest.
Right out here every time, it feels like, but been a little frustrating, I think, to not be able to convert. Oh, Gate maybe too far forward now. JayJ looking for the knock-up, lands the hook instead, follows the knock-up, Cocoon in.
He can turn this.
Exhaust plus shield, Gate's in there. Ooh, that's Pantheon. Hello, JayJ, goodbye.
The globals are finally being used from Immortals to outnumber FlyQuest. They're not strong enough right now. Close. You can see how much damage Viktor is doing, but if they keep using these globals, Pantheon intelligently, or maybe even use the Tahm Kench to try to surprise the Blitzcrank once again, I think they're going to be able to slowly crawl back this gold lead.
Almost feels like that death was caused by frustration. You didn't get the entry kill, you really wanted it. You finally find the support that you can pick off, and Allorim just swoops in to get the kill instead. So one back there for IMT.
Support's trying to assert their dominance.
Certainly was almost asserted here, but Gate a little too tanky as Allorim charges in. And Insanity getting extra gold there.
It is harder to tell when Pantheon is coming in than before, when he had the entire circle, so you kind of knew how to position yourself. Now it's just that giant shield wave.
Ooh, very quick engage here from Potluck on the Mash. Flash out from Mash. At least we'll get the summon spell forced out, but I like the attempt from IMT. It's nice to finally see them getting a bit more proactive.
So that's actually a great play from Potluck, because Dragon's coming up in less than 3 minutes. You're gonna have to fight. You're not giving up a Mountain Soul for nothing. So if they can get a fight with Misfortune having Flash down, it'll be a lot easier to stop her ultimate or take her out altogether.
Good use of timing here though from FlyQuest. They know Potluck likely had to recall, so they're actually just zerging down the Baron. They miss Insanity with the hook, but he might get some bad news in just a moment. Smite is true from Fanatiik. And FlyQuest just ninja the Baron.
He almost killed Elise with that Ray as well. That might have been able to get the jungle kill and the steal with one spell.
I think if you'd like sensed it, that's where you just chuck the ulti over and you're like, I know this is good. But I mean, a tough play to make for Insanity, and Fanatiik had just enough health left to smite the Baron away.
That'd be the chattest move of all. Just completely blind, throw everything, get the steal.
If you blind flash in, I agree. If you just throw the ulti over, it's like, you half committed.
If I'm in a game
happens.
and I think the moral is down and the team feels like there's no way to come back, I'm flashing in blind.
Might have been a play that Insanity could make and not look completely foolish, but we'll never know. Can't roll back the timeline at this point.
You can flash in, and Tahm Kench can devour you over the wall.
That's true.
So there is a world where that play was the right play.
Right.
Not going to go down that rabbit hole and die on that hill, but I'll suggest it.
I would like to see it, but instead it's just a very calculated risk there from FlyQuest Academy. Gets in the Baron, now they can finally siege down the rest of these turrets. Hook over Potluck, put in the blender. Fanatiik gonna try and execute him, but the stone plate keeps him healthy.
Getting that cooldown off is a big deal. He can't just jump Misfortune now without trading at least a 1-for-1.
Revenge also guiding the minions into the mid lane. Allorim there to answer, but looks like Revenge will move himself up towards the top half of the map and apply a bit more pressure on an easier to take turret as the bottom lane tier 2 also falls.
So at this point, the Jarvan that is supposed to engage on everybody is 5 levels down from the Aatrox.
It's a tough ask.
Itemization doesn't really cover that distance.
I agree. You can track freaks out there somewhere, I'm sure. You can calculate the gold there for you of those levels and items. But yes, it's a significant difference, to say the least. IMT, I think maybe just going to have to start doing something a little bit more risky. Perhaps not when the Baron's still up and pushing the waves in, but JayJ instead going to maybe try something here. Potluck again, the target of the Blitzcrank engage, and this time it's almost enough. Good ult there from MF. Allorim going in, he looked for the big flank there. He's actually still in there. Allorim actually going to look for the execute match. Does get shut down. What a play from the Pantheon. Insanity doesn't get out. Revenge continuing to cut down members of Immortals. And unfortunately, it was too little, too late on that play as the rest of FlyQuest sweep in for 3.
It's a valiant effort to at least go for it when they're not knocking at your Nexus. So I totally love that Immortals actually goes for it, wants to give it a shot instead of just bleeding out slowly. This shows that they're willing to put their lives on the line when the game seems lost, and that's something that we can't say for every single team.
I think if Insanity had been able to position it a bit differently, Potluck desperation play to try and stop the base from falling, but doesn't seem like it'll happen. Instead, it's FlyQuest gonna knock down another Nexus for this week, because I believe between them might be 4-0 for the Org. Not a bad way to open week 1 as IMT is continuing to throw bodies at the problem, but sometimes hard work is not enough, crumbs. As the Nexus will go down. It's FlyQuest Academy taking the dub.
Just at the edge of death was the Azir. I think a few more autos and he was about to go out, but FlyQuest, this organization is clearly doing something right this split because they have not come out swinging this hard before.
It's all the trees, they're planting crumbs. Gets
Right?
that good mental going.
They've got a purpose behind their wins. Are they planting trees for the Academy wins as well?
You know what? I don't know if they are, but they should be.
Now we're holding them to the standard.
All right, well, Tribble avoided taking a single death that game with the Nexus going down fast enough, and overall it does feel like the top side of FlyQuest continues to show good form. Fanatiik, just such a breath of fresh air in this league.
Yeah, he was one of the best junglers in Scouting Grounds. I was really happy to see that he joined FlyQuest, that he found a team that was willing to take a chance with the Scouting Grounds players, because it is no coincidence that you play in Scouting Grounds and you have the drive to go all the way. That is why you qualified. That is, you grinded through basically nothing to try to get to this moment, and delivering is just the only way to continue to climb and get noticed by an LCS team or even be subbed out a few games.
Yep, and I think if I think on the scale of 1 to Blabber on aggression, he's definitely not Blabber, because very few players are. In fact, perhaps no other player should be.
8 out of 10 blabbers?
But I think he's up there.
Okay.
He's like, 8 or 9, maybe a 7. Certainly plays with the right amount of aggression, I would say.
And he's got the right champion pool right now. Elise, Lee Sin, the Kianas, exactly what you want out of your junglers. Very aggressive, kind of solo queue focused, which is more about messing with the other jungler or really hammering it home on one lane. And that's exactly what he did. Found the Blitzcrank, found the synergy, never stopped going. Won the game through it.
Well, we'll have a look at some replays here in the game. No, it's a draft instead. Didn't actually get to check in with the bans. Urgot did unfortunately get stripped away from Allorim. Decided not to give a revisit to that one.
Man, but I like it.
Mort as well. Kiana Renekton. Lots of your favorite combinations with Elise.
Yeah, so we don't know the order at which these were picked, just the entire combo.
I believe this is the order as well.
Wow. Well, that changes everything.
There you go.
There it is. See? Elise first pick is the big one. So coming into the season, I heard from a lot of teams, Elise is the pick to play. It's not Lee Sin, it's Elise because she gives you way more options for those early dives versus the Lee that is a lot more reliant on the setup. Elise is pretty much the only setup you need. So seeing this first pick shows us that FlyQuest is one of the teams that has a better grasp on the meta than most.
I mean, Fanatiik certainly. If you give him the ability to play Elise, he will play Elise almost 9 games out of 10. He loves that champion. So I think well navigated there for FlyQuest. With Senna and Aphelios in the pool, impressive to see them take it over. But we'll have a look at kind of how it all started. We've been talking about Fanatiik this whole time. This was the first thing he did to kick it off.
And it's very easy. He doesn't have to start with the cocoon. He waits for his teammate, and best of all, you save the repel to get out. You don't need to get fancy. I've seen so many times players try to get creative with the Elise. The combo is the same thing every time. Human into spider, then get out with repel.
Also think that JayJ, maybe the unsung hero of this game, combining with Fanatiik. It was Thresh in their first game, now Blitzcrank in this one. He's been nailing people with hooks left, right, and center. But we'll have another look at this next replay as Fly do the same thing, but in the top lane.
And this was through a pocket of vision that Immortals did not get to scout out. JayJ nails the hook, and the combination is just too powerful. He cannot flash out. He's completely CC'd up until the moment where he gets out, and it's too late.
Yep, Fanatiik able to get in there. Revenge did burn the flash to try and secure the kill. Was not needed, but FlyQuest are able to get the kill, get themselves out, almost even redive for a couple more, it seemed like.
Immortals couldn't even collapse onto MASH because they didn't have vision of the tri-brush. They didn't even know that MASH was there. They only saw the bullet time hitting everybody and melting their team. So it was a really odd position for everybody on Immortals to try to respond to the catch on Pantheon.
And then a final replay, 3-1 for Fly here in mid lane that leads to the game just truly being opened up. And once again, it's JayJ and Fanatiik tag teaming for Potluck.
This was after he pulled the same Jarvan, got the stone play with the Elise combo, and then goes for him again. Mash didn't have flash, which is what Jarvan had accomplished earlier, but the rest of the team is completely unhinged. Look at Triple. I mean, the guy, no one even looked at him. People didn't even notice he was there.
Yeah, I think that was actually, now that I look back at it, that was the issue Insanity ran into, was the flanking Azir, just ripping him apart as he's trying desperately to kill the backline. Because in a different set of positioning, Viktor rips through the back end of that team fight with Allorim's play.
That's why you want to have these high DPS mid laners comboed with the current set of ADs. Everyone's diving onto the ADs, and if you have a DPS mid laner, then you've got those two threats. But if you have a bursty mid laner, then it's a lot easier to avoid that damage than it is to avoid the just mayhem that Viktor or an Azir can lay down.
Well, as we see now, FlyQuest were able to take that play and then push straight down the Nexus. Although it did get a little close, it seemed like at times. KDA Triple protecting himself and most importantly, taking the Nexus.
Yeah.
I also appreciate they went for it, right? There's plenty of teams that would be like, okay, we got enough. We don't have to try and end the game here. But FlyQuest said, no, we can end the game.
I like that too, because so many times teams would say, no, just play it. We'll get another Baron and try to end it that way. Like, you don't need to do that anymore. I like the role. Like, yeah, that's exactly
how I feel.
Yeah. End it now. You don't even need Baron end games now.
Yeah, I think you certainly can just get aggressive, and that's what FlyQuest did. We'll be right back with 100 Thieves Academy versus Evil Genius Academy in just a moment. Don't go too far. Well, tower tanked up. That's first blood. Fanatiik get a nab it again. Triple down here, but here's Allorim. They actually stun Fanatiik under the tower into the gravity field. He may go. He goes over, flashes out Apollo. Allorim going to get shielded up by said ulti. But I think the dive is just forthcoming at this point. Needs the last Q from Fanatiik. Does land it. Here's Gate.
Just Aatrox.
I'm 1 HP. I need to be.
Hello. Ian, right here.
Nice. Quick Drake.
Match does get shut down. What a play from the Pantheon. Insanity doesn't get out. Revenge continuing to cut down members of Immortals. And unfortunately, it was too little, too late